Hello, everybody. So today it's going to be kind of a rambling slash rant. Okay, it's about a job space at work. So what I want to discuss about today or ramble on about is how sometimes at your job you get this one person that just goes all out for a company. Um, these companies don't care about you at all. You know, you're replaceable. Everybody's replaceable. And there is no such thing as a person that cannot be fired or the company can't do without them. That don't exist. So the rant that I want to do is, you know, we got this one guy at the job at the factory, and he's a good guy. You know, he's good to get along with and all this stuff. I ain't saying nothing bad about him. But at the same time, he has no consideration for anybody he works with. This particular person, he does work my shift, and we're already short-handed, and that's because companies they're hiring, but they're not going to bring somebody in unless they absolutely have to. And so the situation we have at my particular job site, when I first started, there was 4 people per shift. We're a small company. Um, of course, we deal with making steel and the wire. Uh, so as they people has quit, as they fired people, they're you would think they'd bring in a temp or hire somebody to come in and replace them. So they were in the process of that. I think they were actually looking for a temp, and but what ended up happening was they went to this particular guy. He's been there longer than me, and they asked him to run 2 machines instead of his one, which he did that night. And I'm not saying nothing about every now and then we all have to do a little extra work at a company. That happens from time to time. I'm not complaining about that. It's a job. But he turned around and decided he was going to ask for more money. And the company, because he made quota for both machines, and so the company approached him and talked to him about how he had said he would like to have more money for doing that. So they gave him a proposition. Well, I tell you what, we'll just let you run 2 machines and we'll pay you $1 more an hour. Now stop and think about that. $1 more an hour to do twice the work and still have to meet quota. You got to meet quota. I'm sure they didn't mention that part to him, but we all know they're going to still want their quota. By the way, I'm Old Gamer Jack. Thanks for being here. If you like what you hear, like, subscribe, comment. Um, let's anyway back to the story. So he takes this up, and we're all of us. There's me and one other dude at the time, and we're like, we wouldn't do it. There is no way you're gonna have me run 2 machines for $1 more an hour. The work that we do is it's intensive when it comes to weight. Plus, you got to set up the machines. It takes time. It takes over an hour to just set up one machine. And then while you're running it, you got to keep a good eye on it because the quality aspect of it's pretty high. So to run 2 machines is actually, you'll run yourself to death, is what I'm trying to say. If you're trying to keep up with 2. And then on top of that, this particular person wants to run them as fast as he possibly can because he's trying to impress the boss of how much he can get done. Now, mind you, they've already pretty much let it be known that they were going to give no more money but that $1 more an hour. So anyway, sure enough, after a week or two, um, he's not hitting quota. He's got an exceptionally amount of downtime because what he's ending up having to do is he has to shut down one machine when he's got a changeover on the other one because he can't watch the first machine, if you're following what I'm saying. So Then what started happening was the company took notice. His production actually started to fall. Um, it just so happened that this particular month, the jobs that he was running on his two machines was it's a how you put it, the wire that he's making was pretty brittle. It's hard to run. So you have a lot of downtime as it is, and then you got the two machines, him shutting one down to do the other one. He wasn't getting nothing done. So of course they call him into the office and they start talking to him and they're wanting to know what's going on. And he goes into the spiel where it's so hard. I need help. I need help. Running two machines. I just gotta have help. Okay, my point being is this: I did not force him or ask him to run two machines. The company did. All right. I said no because I already knew what it entailed and I wasn't going to do it, especially not for no $1 more an hour. And since, in my opinion, you said yes to it, then you said yes to all the headaches and the crap that goes along with that. That's my opinion on it. But no, no, no. He has to go crying and stuff. So next thing you know, the floor manager going to come out and they're going to say, need you to help him. Bullshit. That's the way I look at it. I'm already working hard as it is. Why the heck do I got to pick up his slack? And by the way, I don't get the dollar more an hour. Only he does. So in my opinion, like, why do I got to kill myself? I didn't volunteer for that. If he wouldn't have volunteered for it, they would have brought in a temp so they could find a permanent person. You follow what I'm saying? But because of him trying to be, oh, I'm invaluable. Oh, this company will love me if I do this, this, this. They're not going to bring no one in. They've already stated that they said they didn't need to, so long as production was being met. That was their words. What does he do? He gonna cry about he needs help, and he's running these two machines as fast as he can go. So now I'm getting in trouble because they want me to help him with his second machine. And I'm like, hey, this is crap. So of course, naturally, he's got a changeover on one machine. Another changeover comes up on his other machine. Guess what I have to do? I have to shut my machine down so I can do the changeover. Well, guess what? My production falls then. And so they come out there wanting to know what's going on. I told them straight out the truth. What do you expect from me? He had a changeover on one. He had a changeover on his second machine. I had to shut mine down to go do the other machine because you told me to help him. And they're like, well, now that all of a sudden they want changeover times to be faster. Mind you, these changeover times have been the same for freaking years and years. That's never been an issue. It's kind of one of those deals where it is what it is. I mean, it takes that amount of time to change it over. You can rush through it, and safety wise, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I've already seen one dude hurt his hand so bad he's got permanent nerve damage, and I've seen another man lose his finger. I ain't about that. I'm not hurting myself, crippling myself, or killing myself for no company to make another man rich when they don't give 2 cents about me. And that's the way they are. They do not care about anybody. You're an employee. You're replaceable. They do not care about you. No matter what they say, no matter what they try to program, they try to do, that's all crap. They don't care. And HR, for anyone talking about HR is not for you. HR is to protect the company. Look that up. That's a fact. HR don't care about you either. They're just trying to keep the company from a lawsuit. So, anyway, back to the story. So here we go. It finally comes to a head, and they start telling him, well, something's got to give because by this time, I've done straight out told floor manager, I ain't doing it no more. When I hit quota on my machine, I'll then help him after I make my quota. And I'm not killing myself to help him. I'll slow that machine down. I'll do whatever I got to do, but I'm not killing myself like he wants to do. So then his person actually going to get an attitude with me and with the other guy that's on the shift about, oh, we should help more. I think my floor manager, which I haven't heard in over a year, talk about quiet quitting. Quiet quitting. Like I said, I ain't heard that in about a year. Um, I ain't quiet quit shit. I still hit quota. But in any case, so he's talking about they try to do, okay, well, can you help him with the back end, like load up the material? And he'll watch the machine and do the front. That doesn't work either because it's the same thing. It takes 100% of your time to watch a machine. And he knows that. He's been there longer than me. For you to sit there and say, I can run two and run them as fast as you can go, and you already know that that's really impossible, to me, you asked for it. And I don't think that is my responsibility to make up his difference. But, and I was thinking about it, all places have that one person that does that. And these companies, they starting to notice it. All right. And once they notice it, they're not going to bring in somebody else and pay them a full salary with benefits if they could get one dumb person to do the work of two people. Let that sink in. You think the company loves you for this? No, they don't. As far as they're concerned, they're pocketing money. That's what it boils down to. They don't care about you. They don't care about you burning yourself out. They don't care about you accidentally hurting yourself because you're rushing trying to do two machines or whatever job you're doing at the time. Hey, but these people, they don't seem to think about that. They swear up and down that these companies love them to death, that they can't be fired. They can't do this without me. Yes, they can. If they fired him, they'd hire two other people because I'm not going to do the work more than what I'm supposed to do. And it's like that for a lot of places. Um, the tire company I mentioned in a couple of videos, it's the same way. You get people that called in, and it's like, well, that day, that night, on that shift, okay, everybody has to pull up that extra because a person called in. All right, but it's not that big a deal. You know, one day or something like that, every now and then, you don't like it, but you do it. But then someone quits, and this company had noticed that, okay, production is being met again. Like I said, this is the tire company, and so they didn't hire nobody. Instead, they upped everybody's quota by 200. All right, so with the amount of people that was there, if you add that extra quota in, it made up for that person that's no longer there. So they don't have to pay the salary, and they don't have to pay the benefits. Meanwhile, everybody else is already dead tired anyway, and now you're definitely dead tired because now you're having to do even more because they upped the quota. So to me, especially for younger people, listen to what I'm about to tell you. These companies, they do not care about you. You need to think about your own mental health. You need to think about your own physical health. And you need to try to keep your work home ratio pretty much as close as you can. Now, being tight for money, especially like me, you do what you have to do if you got to put in overtime. All right, that's already hard. You know, you don't need to be doing twice the work. That's just crazy. They're not paying you extra, so why are you doing it? And people say, well, then they could fire me, whatever. And then they'd be two people down. Now, once, when it comes to that kind of stuff, usually it's a threat. But just make sure you're doing your job. I will say that. Because they will, like, try to find any kind of reason to get you out to get a temp in. Just make sure you're doing your job. Your quality's good. You're hitting your quota, stuff like this, and you'll be fine. But it sets a precedence. Put your foot down. You know, you're going to retire one day. Do you want to retire and be like can't do nothing because your back hurts, your legs hurt, your joints hurt? You're so messed up you can't get off the couch without taking 5 pain pills. Is that the kind of life you want to have when you can finally retire? I mean, it's like they try to work you all the way to the grave as it is. Don't make it easier for them. I mean, I don't understand why people want to do that. Okay, I'm not saying, okay, it's your job, your machine. Do the best you can do. You want to run your machine faster? You want to hit above a quota? Go for it. That's on you. But when you volunteer to do extra work that you know you can't do, and you know deep down that when you start that, the company's going to go to everybody else to have them help you, that's inconsiderate. You know, it's not everybody's place to dig you out of a hole that you put yourself in. And to me, that's exactly what he's done. So, once you burn out, so of course, this dude went from being one of their star employees, I guess you could say, till he started calling in more. He got sick more, supposedly. To me, that's burnout. He was tired all the time. He didn't want to come into work. He knew what he was going to be facing. He didn't want to do it. He already knew everybody in the shift, which was just me and one other person. We didn't like to talk to him. We were pissed off at him. I mean, he's throwing extra work on us, getting us talked to by the floor manager because of his own stupidity, in my opinion. He knows that. So what do you call that? Hostile, like, fucking workplace. I guess that's what HR called it when they talked to us. Because, yeah, they talked to us. HR called that meeting and want to talk about hostile workplaces and all this kind of stuff, mainly because we didn't speak to him. We took our breaks like we were supposed to. He couldn't take his break like he was supposed to because he's running two machines. Oh, boo hoo. Take your extra dollar, put it in your pocket, and smile while you do the work. But it ain't my responsibility, in my opinion, to help that out. You did that to yourself. And every place that I have ever worked at, in my own experience, there's always that one person that does that. There's always that one person that when a group of people on a shift, no matter what job it is, they meet with the manager and they're trying to explain, hey, this is going on. If you could do something about it, it would kind of help everybody out. And this one person is going to speak up, well, I ain't having no problems. Like, dude, what the hell, man? Like, I swear, it's like in their heads, they really do think that these places care about them. But as they say, there's one in every place. But today, that kind of crap, it kind of boils down and it got spicy, I guess you could say today. And to me, to hell with you. That's the way I look at it. You put yourself there, get yourself out of it. So, they're talking about they're going to bring a temp or so in. Cool, good. He'll be happy. As far as I'm concerned, I'm still doing the same thing I was doing. Um, and then it turned out first shift, they had two people quit, and they had pulled some machine operators off and gave them other jobs because they're juggling everything because the company had about 3 or 4 people leave. And on that end, this is just the way the companies do. They got one machine operator, which means the complete shift quota for first shift is dropped way below level. And upper management is now on management's case about getting that quota up, the total quota, but they don't want to bring no one in. So they're talking about upping our quotas. I mean, that's how companies are. How much money they can keep in their pocket. That's all they care about. So if they can't do it, then they'll bring in help. And we already know what's his name is going to run his two machines as hard and as fast as he can. He's already told him he'll come in and work double shifts to run two machines on first as well. you know, um, but yeah, his call-in rate's gone up and everything, which puts more on us. I don't think it'd go on too much longer, and I think the company's going to have to be forced to bring in some temps to solve the issue. But yeah, I just wanted to do a little bit of rant on that and just ramble on a little bit because that one got up under my skin today. And like I said, with all this going on, I hadn't had time to make a video in like 2 or 3 days. It's been hectic. But in any case, if you like what you heard or whatever, just like, subscribe, make a comment. But yeah, this is Old Gamer Jack, and I'm out.